Oh, it probably would help if I opened up the participant list. I'm like, where is everyone? There they are. Everyone's just popping on in. I
Looks
didn't
like
have my list
everybody's
open.
trickling in.
Yeah, yeah. It's always fun watching. I do feel like it's like Christmas or something. Everyone jumping into our room. Thank you guys for coming back and back and back to these webinars. Although we do hear every once in a while that we've got new folks on them, so we know some of you might not have attended our webinars before, but many of you keep saying we love these, so we keep coming back, which thank you for that. Hopefully you will enjoy this one. I'm excited about this webinar, aren't you, Jordan? We've got
I am, yeah.
yeah, we've got some new stuff, like things you've never seen before. And I know many of you, I've been watching the names come in. Many of you that I've worked with are really good at this and you love learning all the new things. And for those of you who are a little bit more afraid of it, this might be a little bit more, it is an advanced class. So take it in. We're recording. You can watch it back. Keep this in mind, folks. You have account managers with one each. So if you watch this and you go, wow, I really love that, or I really love that, but you're feeling intimidated about how to do some of this, book a meeting with your account manager. Let us help you out because that's what we're here for. So this is going to be, like always, a little bit of a fire hose of information because that's what Jordan and I like to do. And we're going to go ahead and get started here shortly. And just, yeah, we are recording this. We put all the webinars out on our support site. You'll be sent the link afterwards. You can watch us over and over and over and over again. Isn't that cool? All right. Reminder on this that this is a Zoom webinar, which is a little bit different than the Zoom meetings. So there's a question and answer box. Please click and type in questions there. When they're answered, everyone can see the answers. So you want to watch for the answers as well. So do make sure you have that open somewhere if you can, so you can ask questions as we get going. All right. But we're going to use our time well. So let's go ahead and get at least to the intro screen of our team. Jordan, say hi, Jordan.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to have, I feel like I love doing these every month. It's nice to see the same names pop up every month after month. You start to recognize those names. So it's nice to see everybody again.
Yep. And I'm Allison James. We've got Chrissy and Christina, two of our account managers, helping moderate the screen. And Brian, I don't have your picture up. I'm so sorry. But Brian's joined us from our sales team. So he's available if you want to chat him any leads you have on any organizations you need one each, please, you can message right out to us. All right. Oh, we have a poll question. I didn't get that ready either. Boy, Allison, you think I haven't done this before. Let's go ahead and launch this poll. So I just launched it. Should pop up on your screen if you can click it and go ahead and vote on it. So we are going to be talking about advanced page layouts, and part of advanced page layouts is being able to put really cool graphics on your page and pictures and different things. So there are a couple of different photo editing tools that folks use. Let's see, about 80% of you have voted. Anyone else in? Put your 2 cents in. Let's share this result. This is an interesting one. I figured it would be a little close, but Canva won. Photoshop close second. And Canva's cool. It's got a lot of neat pre-done stuff that you can use. I'm hearing from most people though that you kind of need Canva Pro, which is that paid version. I don't have Canva Pro, so I always get frustrated because it won't do what I want it to do. So I'm a Photoshop lover. That's what I tend to use. I've shown a lot of people Photopea and Pixlr over the years, so I'm so surprised nobody's using those. PicMonkey, that's someone out there is using it. And then the other, if you want to put in the chat what your other is, that would be cool to know. So use that question. It's not a chat. Use the question and answer. There you go. Okay, so I'll stop sharing that. Let's get going. All right, here's our agenda today. Seems pretty short and simple, but there's a lot packed into it. I'm going to lead off with the first 2 items, which is about our column wrapper. This is going to be new to big chunk of you. Column Wrapper is a feature that is now available with your Drupal components. And we're going to talk through how that works, and you are going to love it because it will be a game changer for many of you in styling your pages. I'm also going to talk about styling components, the background images and the colors and the gradients and all of that stuff. We'll get into that discussion. Jordan will take over screen and talk about views and blocks. This is advanced class, folks. So this will be some really neat stuff that, again, it's going to be new to a lot of you. And then she's going to give us that behind the scenes look at Layout Builder, which is coming with all the new themes. And that is super cool. So I don't know, good meeting, good webinar. Let's see, what are my, oh, Adobe Lightroom. Okay, yeah. Canva Pro, Canva, GIMP. I'm not used to that one. All right, some people use PowerPoint and Publisher. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing all that information. You guys can just share it out to the group so they can see it. All right, let me go ahead and get started. I am going to go ahead and close this and share my screen. Here we go. All right. So our friends at Gaston County YMCA, we're going to do a little what we call show and tell to start this off. And Jordan, you're going to help me talk through these. Gaston County Family YMCA is using one of our Drupal themes called Sedona, one of the newer Drupal themes. As we scroll down this page, we love some of what they've done. And this is some of what we're going to be showing, such as this nice image with a soft opacity. Okay, I'm going to be using terminology. This is advanced class. So in the advanced class, we're talking a lot about the images and the backgrounds. If you have a great picture and it's at 100% opacity, it looks like this. And it's a little harder to read the text on it. But as you reduce, this is probably a 20% opacity with a gradient. It goes down to white. So things like that, if you're a photo editor user, you know that terminology. That's kind of cool stuff to do, and to start thinking about doing it and adding it behind maybe some of the text on your page. They've also made in graphics that they use, that's just an image. Yeah, they added in to add a soft look to it. Yeah, and Jordan, I know you've worked with these guys a lot. So what else would you say about this as I'm scrolling down?
Yeah, I really loved those little page breakers, is I think what they've called them. They made all those images, just a few of them, and carried out that trend on a lot of different pages throughout their site. And it's just something that is so simple and makes the biggest difference on those page layouts when you're using columns. And all it is that image popped into a rich text editor. All those background images, don't forget, even on that simple rich text component, you have the option to put background images behind those. And I know Allison's going to touch on those, but even just that simple text editor, you can enhance that with just a few images. So love seeing all the editing images tools here. These were just really great ways to kind of think out those pages. The bottom here, the personal trainer bios, this is what we call the staff and board pages a lot, where you get that nice tiled look. This is actually a view component that she pulled in. They repurposed their staff to be personal trainers, so they pulled in that view directly onto this page, which I think is just a great use case for that view component. And we'll cover that as well in this webinar.
I see a great question that did just pop in. Does adding all these images slow down your page load time? No, it really shouldn't. But you also always want to be aware of not using a 2 megabyte image as a background. Keep your image file size low, and you can reduce the richness of the file when you're doing things like an image background like this. It doesn't need to be a high density image. So keep them as low as you can. So that will help with that. They have another page we were taking a look at as a bit of a show and tell, kind of similar stuff. Again, they made all these circle line breaker things. I just think it's very clever. Here's what you want to remember. You all have brands. So YMCA's brand, United Way's brand, Unity's brand, Meals on Wheels brand, all of your individual brands. You have your color schematic. Some of you are more tend to circles, some like the squares. Stick with your brand, and you can always create some of these graphics and images in the different tools that you guys like to use, and come up with a consistent theme and flow as you're building your site out. I love this background image here. Now, this individual knows some coding, so they actually coded in a unique block here. So we do have the ability within our system, if you do know code, you don't have to know code, you don't have to know code, but if you do know it and you want to build out something, you can do stuff like that as well. And then again, the soft background colors with the circles, just to use, these are equal columns, right?
Mm-hmm. Equal columns, the
background.
background image, and a picture added at the top.
Okay.
So simple, it's simple in the back end, but it makes the biggest difference on the page.
Yeah. So I want to show you guys so we like to show what people have done, but now we're going to build it. Now I'm going to like build it so you can see step by step us creating our own version. Not quite this one, but I'll show you what I'm going to build here in a second. But I want to start by sharing with you just a couple images. I just knocked these out this morning. This image is set at a 20% opacity, and I saved it so I could use it as a background on a page that I'm about to build out. So you're about to see that. And then I went ahead and did a diagonal gradient. At the top corner is a United Way blue, because I am going to use this backpack back to school thing that a lot of United Ways use. And then I made a flip version of it with it going to the other corner. Just some ideas. I mean, you do whatever works for you, whether it's a gradient blend where it has opacity to it, whether it's a solid color, but think through some things just to kind of be creative in your styling on your advanced page layouts. So let's get back to my pages here. So I want to share with you, I helped United Way of the Brown County area this week with their backpack project. Cool. It's a back to school time. They got actually a lot of neat things here. They got be a backpack collection site, make a donation, monetary donation to it, request backpacks, etc. Their needs, and then their locations. So what I did is I took this into our demo site and I built it out with a couple of background colors and background images. And it looks like this. I'll show you. And we're going to rebuild this here in a second. So I took what they had, and I have two columns here. On this column on the left, I have a rich text editor with a box in it with a gradient behind it. I have a second rich text editor with a video, and I have another rich text editor with a diagonal. And this is where I should have a few people going, how did you do that? Column wrapper. You're going to like it. So column wrapper is a new element. And yes, you're all probably going to put in tickets at the end of this asking our team to install column wrapper on your website. Column wrapper is a new element that will allow you to put multiple things in one column. And then the column on the right, I just put a web form, but I could have done column wrapper again and put multiple items in there. It's kind of more of that like newsletter text kind of layout where you could have that narrow column, or they could be two equal columns with a variety of things in them. Then down at the bottom of the page, I did use their columns, and I put that soft background image of the kids. So let's go through doing this. Let's do it. I already somewhat started the page here, only put the header image on the top because I wanted a header image and I didn't want to take time to do it. So let's get started. This is going to be really specifically on how we do column wrapper. So column wrapper, this is a basic page, just a basic page. I am going to add either an equal column, 2 uneven columns, or 3 uneven columns. Whichever one of those, I must start with this first. Actually, typically you won't see column wrapper on this screen. I'm going to start with one of these first. So I'm going to start with 2 uneven columns. When I select 2 uneven columns, the very first column was the column that I had the column wrapper in. So you this is when you pick column wrapper. So now I'm going to add to this column something called column wrapper. Column wrapper is just saying, hey, all of these things are going to be aligned together before I get to my next column. So in my column wrapper, I'm going to go ahead and add a rich text editor. And you might notice I actually had moved that text to white, which let's see if it copies over as white or black. Copied over as white. And then in the style settings, I added a background image. And the background image uses our tool called Media. If you haven't used that much, usually this is really the only time I use it is when I'm adding some kind of background image. Let's do, was this one, I think. Select, might have had them reversed, it's fine. And you can pick kind of where it centers up on here. All right, so that's the first item in my column wrapper. Now I'm going to add another item to my column wrapper, and I had added a video. So a video goes inside a rich text editor, just like the other ones. I don't know if I can, I meant to leave that code open. Let's see if I can copy embed code. Fantastic. Have you guys all put videos on pages? Hopefully you have. You go to the source side of the page and you paste in embed code. That is how you place videos. And then the bottom item on my column was yet another rich text editor, and I had placed, I went ahead with the black text and I'd placed it. I think I flip-flopped my background images though. So we'll find out here if we like the way it looks. Style settings. And yes, I did prep work. I had my images kind of ready to go, what I wanted to put behind them. And that's fine. Let's go ahead and select. All right, so that was my column wrapper, which is in essence my column number one of my two unequal columns, my two uneven columns, if that makes sense. So now I need my second column. That is add component to column. That's the second column. So when I do that, I'm just going to grab a web form that's on my site. I think I had a Day of Caring project application, something similar to that. And I could style that out. I can put background color and do stuff. I didn't bother with that in this sense. But now I'm going to go to the style settings for both columns because I need to pick what's my column. I want a narrower column on the left and a larger column on the right. So let's go with 1/3, 2/3, and let's hit save and see how we did. I might have flip-flopped those two blues. I have a feeling I did. Yeah. So this is the one I would probably switch to be out to the black text and then this to the white. Oh, and I picked a longer web form. Look at me go. That's all right. It's all good. So let's make those quick edits so it looks a little bit better. And then I will add that bottom box. So now when you come back in here, you're going to see your two uneven columns. And when I click edit, I will see that the first part of it is that column wrapper and it has 3 items in it. Makes sense? Yeah, that's what we did. So I remember that the first one was, let's just flip-flop the text color instead of changing out the background image. We'll just do. And I usually do one that's not quite completely white so I can see it. I like to be able to kind of glance at it. All right, there we go. Cool. That one fades in a little bit, but that's all right. Well, now we're going to do the 3 equal columns on the bottom and we're going to drop that background image in. So let's do that real quick and then we'll be switching out to Jordan. How's our questions doing?
Good, but before you go off this page, I had someone, can you show what the page looks like in mobile view, how the column wrapper wraps with everything else?
We can, we will. Let's do our equal columns. That's a great question. I probably should have previewed that ahead of time, but Yeah, it should just drop. So my column wrapper, I'm gonna have 3 rich text editors. Or not my column wrapper, I'm sorry. This is simply, all I did was equal columns. So I'm just doing, this isn't a column wrapper. This is just 3 equal columns. I'm just grabbing this so I can have this cute little layout, show you how this would work. So 3 equal columns, add column to column content, rich text, borrow, borrow, borrow. Oh, I am still logged into their site. And here we go. Oh, it's my site, that's why. All right, so my style settings for the entire set of, now, so let's look at this first. We're just gonna have the 3 columns and you'll see the text. Okay, so here's the 3 columns. I could do a background color per column. I could do something for each individual column if I wanted, or I can do something for the whole area. So that's kind of an important differentiation to understand when you're looking at the style options. So here under my 2 equal my equal columns where I have 3 equal columns and I click edit, I have 3 rich text editors. And I'm going to make a comment here. If you're ever just putting a picture in, like you want 3 pictures in a row, we recommend that you just use rich text editor. If you have an option on your site that says image, it's not overly flexible. So it's really a lot easier just to use rich text for even just placing a single image in a box. We've just all found that that gives us the flexibility we like. So that's how we tend to do it. So now if I wanted to go to each individual rich text editor, I could come here and I could do style settings and I could do background colors on each one, right? Well, in this case, I wanted to style set the whole 3 columns. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to select an image, which is going to be the one that I had of the kids that I did nice soft opacity here. And we'll hit save, and then we'll make sure we look at it on mobile. So that's good. All right. So that was me adding that as a background image. Don't you like it? Looks cool. It just jazzes up your page a bit with something. So think about it. Think about the background color, some of the soft background images. This again is an image that was taken to 20% opacity. Yes, that's terminology. Hopefully that means something to you. If not, there's great YouTube videos out there about how to do stuff with images. So yeah, let's take a look at this on mobile. Let's go. All of you should be seeing this mobile icon. You may, if you're still in Drupal 8, you probably don't, but if you're in a Drupal 9 version, you should see the icon. There we go. Scroll down. Here's the backpack. Here's the video. Here's the next block. And the form. Form's going to be a little bit on the narrow side, but it's still good. It functions. And here are the columns. So this background image will be chopped out a little bit, obviously, but yeah, looks good. I think it looks good. I like it. And let's go to like an iPad. Stacks it. Okay. Get more of the image and it's still going to stack those columns. And that's all based on the size of the screen that someone would be on. Okay. Any other questions before we pass on to Miss Jordan for her part?
Yes, would you mind doing just a quick recap of how you added those images to the background images?
Sure. All right. So, let's take the one where I added, well, we'll go here. So here's our our uneven columns, and we have the column wrapper, that first column wrapper, and I put the background blue gradients behind them. This is the one that has the white text. So you go to style settings. That's where you're going to go. And you're going to, let's just remove it. You're going to select an image. Now, these are some images that I have out on here, but most likely you're going to need to upload. So I skipped that step because I had already uploaded them, so I apologize. But you are going to click that upload, and then you're going to select the file from your computer. So it's going straight to my desktop. Here's the background image that I was using for that one. I'll just re-upload it again. And it will let you, when you're doing it here, pick where you want kind of the center mass of it to fall. And let's go up because that had the white text was running into the white at the bottom. Select the image. Oh God, say an alternate text. Ooh. I would say blue background, but you don't want to watch me type because I'm really bad at it. And I will hit save. So you select the image that you want. You do upload it typically from your computer of what you're going to use. Okay. All right. How are we doing otherwise?
Doing all good.
Jordan, whenever you're ready, you can grab the screen.
Awesome. And before I do, I just want to make a quick note because I do see some of you guys on that are in our carnation, lily, or rose themes and those YMCA website services themes, formerly known as OpenY. The advanced page layout, this is a little bit more geared toward our Drupal themes that are not those three, but you may be receiving an email soon about a new quarterly webinar meant just for you guys, and it's going to focus on just those themes. Our hope is to get the first one scheduled for August. So keep an eye on your emails, and you'll see kind of an invite for that coming soon because we want to make sure we're getting you guys support there as well. Okay, I'm going to switch gears here. Let me get my slideshow up. All right, so I wanted to go over views and blocks within the components of Drupal. You see that Drupal block and you see that view as an option in a component. They are not used very often. They're probably the least frequently chosen components in the background. So the first one I wanted to go over was just the views. And I think the reason it doesn't get used a lot is because it's hard to know what views are out there to be used. So we came up with 4 views that are available to all of our customers in the our One Each Drupal themes. And those 4 views are a view of your board page, your staff page, your news, and your events calendar. And the news would be styled as a latest news block. It's going to have a title and a link to go to that news article. And then the events calendar is going to be styled as an upcoming events block. So it's going to list the event date, the event title, and the start time, and then a link to that event. They are text-only views for the news and the events. We can add pictures in, but that just costs some programming time to make that work. So it's not impossible. It just needs a little extra coding to make that happen. The board and the staff views will come through with those pictures. So if you want to use the view component, these are your 4 options: board, news, staff, and events calendar. So if you go to select a view, there's a chance that you have added that view component to your page, and you get a message that says, there is no display available. Please select another view or change the field settings. This is pretty common. If you see this message, you can get a ticket in, and this is where you can screenshot this slide right here. This is the exact verbiage that you can use with our support team. We have prepped them to be on the lookout for these to come through. But every view needs to have a block display created in order to be used in that component. So if you get this message, don't worry, go ahead and submit a ticket to our support team and just ask them if they can create a block display of the view and let them know which view you'd like to use, if it's the board, the staff, the events calendar, or the news view. They'll be able to get that created, and then you'll be golden. So even if you want to get one in now that just requests that all 4 are created, then you have them and you can use them as needed moving forward. So we'll go over how to add views to the pages, and I'll show you what each of the 4 views looks like as well. I did want to note on the Drupal block component, as we were preparing for this webinar, we really we're trying to find the benefit of having the Drupal block component available to our customers, and there's not a lot of use cases for it, and it's a little cumbersome. So we are going to be depreciating that block out within our new themes. However, there's a much better and easier way to add that block in. So we're going to show you how to use blocks, how to add them to a page as needed. And we're going to do that without using that Drupal block component. So that one you will see go away in our new themes to come. If you have it on your site now, that's fine to keep it there. We would just recommend using a block this other route. So that's what I'll show next. Okay, let me stop sharing here. And I wanted to show the 4 views that we had talked about. So the news view was the latest news view. It's going to look very similar to this and have, this is the component title, but it's going to pull in those news titles, the date it was published, a read more link, and then a link back to your news feed page in general. Same with that events calendar. It's going to be styled as an upcoming events. So it'll have the event title, the date, the start time and end time, and then a link back to your calendar page in general. We've got that staff view that was pulled in, as well as that board of directors view. So this is the styling to be on the lookout for. If you request these views to be added to your site, this is what it's going to look like for you. So let's practice adding a couple to a page so that you guys see what that process looks like. I created this Summer Volunteer Central page just as a kind of demo page to play around with. I added a couple components in there to show, what's happening this summer. Maybe this is a great volunteer page to send users to so they know what campaigns you're running over the summer. They can check for volunteer opportunities. Maybe you want to add, hey, don't forget, these are upcoming events this summer. And we want to add that view into this page. To do that, we're going to jump into the editing view and come down to our component section. This is just a landing page, so there is no pre-built body area on this page. It is built with components only. And I actually want to add this view right in the middle of those columns and that modal button. So I'm going to choose the add button right here in the middle. And I want to add the latest news and the upcoming events like I had on that other page side by side. So I'm going to go ahead and choose columns equal so that I can add those together. And once I've got my columns equal, I can go ahead and start adding my column content. And each column content, my left column and my right column, I'm going to select a view for those. In the view, it is going to have you search for that view name. Here's that message that I said you may see if it pops up. It's okay by default before you've typed anything in. Once you start typing, you can see it news pop up. It'll think for a minute and then that message should go away. That's how you know you've selected a view. And then the only other item you'll need to select is within the display dropdown. You should see only one option. It should say block that you can select. Now, personally, I like to add a component title in and call this latest news. Component titles are on every single component option, not just the views. And when you add them, it will add this text in, I believe, as a heading too, and it will have it centered above each component that you add. So I like it because it looks a little more styled adding in that text. There is an option though on the view to include the view title. This is not a styled text, it's just plain text. I'll add it here just so you can see what that looks like, but I would much prefer and recommend to use that component title up here at the top. And that is it for the view. We've pulled in our news view, we've got our latest news. So now I can go ahead and work on my right side column. So I'm going to add a component to the column content, and I'm going to select another view. And this time we're going to add that events view. So even as I start typing event, there's my events calendar view. I'm going to select the display as a block. And this time I won't put a title at all so we can see the differences between the two. And then if I wanted to, as Allison showed before, there are styling settings on every single component. So if I wanted to add a nice background image behind these views, behind that upcoming events, I absolutely could do that with the background colors or the background image here. So let's save this page. Okay, so here are our two views. So this latest news, this is our component title. It's a little more styled. The news right here, that is the view title that's showing. So I recommend not checking that box, but if you do, this is what that looks like. If you do not add a component title and you do not check the view title, your view will look very similar to this. So I'd like that component title just because it kind of pulls the look, whoops, all together. Let's add that in. And let's go ahead and remove that title on that first news. All right, and there are our two views. Questions on adding views in? I haven't seen any pop up in the Q&A. Hopefully that means that we've been walking through this process and it's making sense to everybody. Views can be tricky, so if you have questions, please reach out to your account manager. They are there to help. This is the advanced page layout, so we wanted to dive into some of the more complex stuff here.
I do want to add though, what I think is just great about this is like, so you can take this and select pages that you want to put it on. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I would see being in maybe a column wrapper on one column side of your, if you're doing the two unequal columns like we just did, and you have a narrower column and you have like your latest news and maybe your upcoming events under it, feeding on some of the pages that pertain to that information. I like it.
Yeah, it's a fun way. Lisa, I see your comment that just come through. I'll go ahead and answer that live. Do we have Drupal? The answer is yes, one each. We are experts in Drupal, as we like to call it. That's what we love to work with. So if you are a customer with us, if you have an account manager, there's probably a 99% chance that you have Drupal. We do have a few WordPress sites as well, but you most likely are on a Drupal platform.
And regarding the
Okay.
question on the homepage, no. So these are internal page stylings. The homepage has a wireframe that comes with whatever theme that you've selected. So unfortunately, you can't just jump into your homepage and start. Fortunately and unfortunately, I would say, because danger, folks, when you start messing with that homepage. And we do have this set up that way for all of our benefit. But yeah, you can't do this on the homepage. All right, Jordan.
All right, I'm going to move on. I had mentioned before that the Drupal block component is going to be depreciated on our sites moving forward, but I wanted to show you how to add a block and how to add it into an internal page, because it doesn't mean that you can't use blocks moving forward. We're just not going to pull it in with that Drupal block component. It was just a little too cumbersome. It was complicated. It was very finicky, and there's a much better way to do that. So what I have heard in the past is that our calendar page that shows that month calendar view at a time, you can't automatically edit the back end of this page and add components or add text to it because it is just set to be that calendar. However, you could add a block to the top of that page if you wanted to. So if you had some featured events that you wanted to showcase, you could put a little note above that calendar right up here, and you can do that with a block. So I wanted to walk through that process here. So to create a block, we are going to come up to Structure, Block Layout, and then Add Custom Block. It's going to ask us for our block description or our block title. I'm going to call this Featured Events. And I am going to cheat a little bit. I had this text already typed out, so I'm just going to paste it in. So I added, hey, featured events, don't miss our featured events this month. These require registration, and maybe I've added in a web form on the events so that you can register for them. And I listed them out here above. This is just an example of what could be done. Once I have my block ready to go, I can save, and it's going to bring me to this configure block screen, and it's going to say, where do I want to place this block? What region do you want to place this block in? And we always want to select content. There are lots of different regions within your site. It is how we build your themes. There are different regions to add things into. For adding blocks onto internal pages, we always want to select content. I also like to uncheck display title. That means it's going to display this featured events title, which sometimes doesn't always work with what I'm trying to do. So I uncheck display title. And then the neat thing about blocks is that you can control the visibility of them on your pages. So there's a pages option here under visibility, and I can tell the site, hey, I want to show this block for all these pages I have listed. And if you leave it blank, it will show on every single page on your website. So you have to be very mindful here. For this block, I want it to show just on that calendar page. So all I need to add is the page name, that /calendar. And this tells the site, only show this block on this page. You can also do it in reverse. You can hide it for the listed pages. So maybe you want it to show on every single page except for this one. That may be easier. So you can play around with that page visibility. Once we have that set up, we'll save our block. There's one more step that we need to do. Once we save, it places our block in the block layout of your site in that content region that we selected. Here's that content region, but it places it at the very bottom by default. If I want that block to be at the top of the page, I need to use the drag and drop arrows and drag it above the main page content. That is the only requirement to have it be at the top of the page. If you would like it at the bottom of the page, put it beneath main page content. But if you want it at the top, make sure it's just right above, and then you'll have to save one more time. I'm going to put a big disclaimer out there. All of these blocks that you see here are very important to your website. So please be careful as you're in there. Try not to disable any blocks because you may accidentally hide your main menu or your rotor images. So a good rule of thumb, if you are playing around within the custom block library, is if you didn't create the block, please don't delete it because it is probably important. If you make a mistake, if something happens, let us know. We can absolutely fix it. Our support team's great about that, but be mindful as you are in here because you can do some damage to your site if you're not careful. All right, so let's go and look at our calendar page. We created our block, we placed it in the content region, we chose the page visibility. Let's take a look at the calendar now. There we go. There's my featured events. My links are right above and my calendar is right below. So this is just an example. You could also do this on if you are just using your staff page as normal, that you could have a little text box right above there. Blocks could be really great for things like if you have important documents, important links that maybe need to show on a few different pages, you can place it with a block, and that way you're not having to update 5 pages with the same information. You can update the block once and it will reflect on all of those 5 pages.
Hey, Jordan.
Yes.
We've been asked what happens if you click yoga class. It's hyperlinked to a page, right?
I hyperlinked it to the event page itself.
There you go.
I didn't build out the event page, but I did link it. It is taking you to the same place that this is taking you to, this yoga class.
I love this. I do love this. If you go back to here, what I want to make sure everyone realizes, like, this is a block that got added to the top, and you might have been a little like, whoa, how'd she do that block add thing? And yeah, that's a task and we can help you with that. But here's the deal. Once it's there, it's there. So see the pencil? You can just keep editing it. So you can have that, like, I've seen it a lot of times at the top of board pages where it's like, hey, we have board openings. Here's a link to be interested in being a board member that they'll put like on their board page, or on the event page, they'll have links, or they'll put even little pictures to different things that are being featured or are coming up. But once it's there, it's there. You don't have to go through those steps again. You just got to get it there in the first place. And then you get a pencil. Let's fix it.
Awesome.
Nifty, nifty. I love it.
All right. But yeah, we're
Okay.
very excited about these. Again, if you have questions, if you would like to walk through this process the first couple of times with your account manager, please reach out. We're happy to walk you through that process, but there are some pretty cool things that you can do with the page components on your sites. All right. So let's go back to our slideshow here. That covers it for views and blocks. We have been talking for the past few webinars, the past few months about Layout Builder and how exciting it is. We are very excited on our team to get this added to sites. As a reminder, Layout Builder is a on-page editing tool. So instead of jumping into that editing view, the back end of the page, you're actually going to be able to be looking at your page as you are making edits. So we wanted to show you a behind the scenes look at Layout Builder today. It is not quite all the way done, but we are getting very close and we're very excited for it to be launched. As another reminder, it is only going to be available on our new themes, which is Catalina, Oracle, Monsoon, and we do have a fourth one coming on the way. So once you are in those new themes, you will have access to that Layout Builder. So again, this is the Catalina theme. These were just released this year within the last couple months. So I wanted to show those off as well. We also have Oracle. And these themes were built with very busy home pages with the idea that you may not need everything that you're seeing here. We can always hide different aspects of them, but we wanted to give you more options and more choices right off the bat. So we can always hide things in the meantime and then display them when you guys are ready. But we wanted to really pack these themes full with different areas to promote things and different tools to use on the homepage. So Layout Builder is on these three themes. And today I wanted to just demo how to work in Layout Builder and kind of what that actually looks like to use the tool. So I have a kind of a demo site that I've been working on with Layout Builder. So that's this site here. This is not a customer site. It's just our kind of demo site. So if I am adding Layout Builder to the site, the first thing I'm going to do is add a new page. Layout Builder is going to be attached to every single content type on your site. So if you were adding a basic page, for example, you would see a layout tab up there to use Layout Builder to edit that. To get started, I'm going to add an article. This is what I've been testing Layout Builder on. So article, we can think of this as just a page. And all I need to do is add my page title initially. Let's call this a summer camp page, or maybe just summer camp is what we'll use for example. Once I have my title in, I'm going to go ahead and save. And once I save, this looks very similar to your basic pages. We can see your page title up here, and we have our editing tabs up below. So we've got view, edit, delete, and I have a new one called layout. And in order to use Layout Builder, we need to go into that layout tab. And this is what Layout Builder looks like. It is going to let you add sections and blocks to your page to build out that page layout. I'm going to go ahead and remove the first section that was there kind of by default, and we'll go through building this out together. So when you add a section, on the right-hand side, you're going to get different layout options that you can choose from. And these will be 1 column, 2 column, 3 columns, and 4. There's going to be kind of a full width column layout, some 2 column stacked layouts. There's going to be some default templates in there that you can choose for your page. For our purposes today, I'm going to select 3 columns. I can also choose the container widths if I want, kind of smaller ones on either side and a larger one in the middle. I'm going to select even sizes today and go ahead and add that section. When I added that, it went ahead and gave me 3 block spaces for me to work with. So it created those 3 columns. Now within each block, I can choose that add block option. The options here will change. These will disappear. We're going to have some new components over here on the right-hand side. For today, I'm going to go ahead and create a custom block up here at the top. Layout Builder will have you title each section as you're working through. So let's title this one staff. And I'm going to choose to not display that title name. So I'm going to take that out of there. And then within my body area, this is just like a rich text editor. Let's go ahead and add an image. Let's do this one. Staff image. Let's keep that centered. I can still drag and drop that. And then I've got some copy already ready over here. Whoops, let's redo that. There we go. All right, maybe we'll give that a space. So once I've got my text ready, down at the bottom here, I can choose to add that block. And that's automatically going to add that directly in here. And we'll keep going with that, each of the 3 columns. I'm going to add a block, give it a title. Maybe this is online registration. Whoops, not source code. Let's find another image. Keep that centered. I've got some more text here. And add block. So it's very cool. Oops, I didn't hide that block title. So let me go ahead and hide that. When you work with the blocks, once you go back to edit them within Layout Builder, it is going to be a little bit of a learning curve. Right now, we always click that pencil icon and we hit edit. In Layout Builder, we don't have edit, we hit configure. That is a big difference between the two. So let's go ahead and uncheck display title and update that block. All right, one more in there. I know we're running short on time here.
We are hearing how exciting this is, though.
Good. We are very excited about it over here. We are working to make it just a really useful tool for everybody, and I can't wait to see it on everybody's sites once you've moved into one of those new themes.
And I'm just going to answer this live while you're doing that. And one of the questions was, so can I get this Layout Builder added to one of my, not a new theme, one of the sites we already have? And unfortunately, the answer is no. It's an entire different build, and that is not, and there's not even a cost I can quote you on it. It's not an option. You would have to change themes to one of the newer themes. Do want to mention this though while she's fixing this stuff up. The new themes that do come with the Layout Builder, we are fully aware. We get asked all the time, like Drupal 10's on the horizon down the road. So if anyone goes into a new theme, they're going to get Drupal 10 when it comes along included with that. So we're not going to like, oh, and now you have to pay for this. We won't do that to you. We promise. We promise. We promise. So the new themes do come with the Layout Builder and Drupal 10 down the horizon. Go ahead.
Awesome. All right, so now I've got my 3 columns in there. You will see messages down here at the bottom that's like, hey, you have unsaved changes. Make sure to save your page. To do that, I can go ahead and save my layout up here at the top. And here are my 3 columns with my images up at the top. I could format them a little better. I tried to whip through that just to show you what that process looks like. We will be putting on more training on Layout Builder so that you guys have all the tools necessary once we've got it added to your sites. We just wanted to tease kind of what that looks like in the back end since we've been talking about it so much. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left, so I am going to come back to our slideshow here. If you have questions about Layout Builder that we haven't gotten to, please reach out to your account manager. They can help answer those for you. We did also want to talk about our June special. We are kind of right in the middle of June right now. So we've still got another half of June, the rest of the month for our new June special. If you are able and wanting to go into one of our new themes and do a theme change, we are also including a year free of our Mindful Giving platform. If you have not seen what Mindful Giving can do, reach out to your account manager. It is a really cool tool to help with in-kind donations. And we'd love to see it on your sites. We've seen it make a pretty big difference in some campaigns on some United Ways that we've already installed it on. It's an awesome tool to have free for a year. And also, we are coming up on July 1st, which is the deadline for Google Analytics. If you have not converted over to that new G4 ID, please do so. We are running out of time here. If you have questions on how to do that, or this is the first you're hearing about it, book a meeting with your account manager ASAP. They can help walk you through those steps.
If you don't know what this is, you need to talk to us because this needs to be done by July 1. So if you're like, what are they talking about? Please reach out to us and let us know so we can help you, because you don't want to kind of miss this marker.
Awesome.
It's important.
Okay, closing details here. Just as a reminder, our support site, which is support.oneach.com, we have a webinars page in there. We've been doing webinars, I think, close to maybe a year now. We're coming up on a year of monthly webinars.
June was the first one last year.
Oh, happy 1 year to us for getting all of these done. All of those webinar recordings are on our support site. You can go back and view them at any point in time. You can request a support ticket on our support site as well. So if you wanted to get those view components set up for that board staff events or news, please go ahead and do that. Book meetings with your account managers regularly. Oh, go ahead, Allison.
The support ticket for Column Wrapper. If you don't, a lot of you probably don't have Column Wrapper yet, so please submit a support ticket to request Column Wrapper to be added to your components.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Awesome. These are meeting links to book with your account manager, and then just a look at our upcoming webinar schedule. Next month in July, we are going to dive more into Layout Builder, as well as some of the new themes and what's new about them, how they can help benefit you, why it's important to theme change every so often. August is going to be all about online campaigns. And then in September, we're going to go through an advanced web forms webinar as well. But if there are topics out there that you would love to see, please let us know. We're always looking to get some feedback on our webinar topics. If there are things that you have been dying and waiting to see in these webinars and we haven't covered yet, let us know, and we'll make sure we plan that in. Okay, I think that was everything. Allison, anything to add?
No, thank you all very much. Thanks for continuing to attend. Yeah, go ahead, Christina.
Yeah, sorry. Jordan, can you real quick pop up the slide that has, I had someone inquiring, the text for the ticket to have the blocks, the view.
Yes.
The block views added.
Right here. You can call it block display for your view component. And you want to ask them to create a block display of insert view name or all four of them. I have prepped our support team so that if they see this verbiage, they will know exactly what you're talking about. But this is a good one to submit. And again, those view names would be your board, your staff, your events calendar is what that's called, even though it's the upcoming events, and then the news.
Great. And I think we did answer most of the questions. If we didn't, we will make sure your account manager reaches out to you directly on that. And again, thank you all so much for attending, and I hope you're enjoying your summer. This recording will be available on the support site by tomorrow, and we'll send that as a follow-up as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. See you next month.
Thank you.